Hi, it's Ira Monta, and today I'm going to be talking about the government response on natural disasters in the Philippines. Before we get into the good stuff, here are some fun facts about the Philippines. The beautiful country of the Philippines is located in Southeast Asia, has a population of 98.39 million, and according to the 2000 census, 52 million people in the Philippines speak English, making it the fifth largest English-speaking nation behind the US, India, Pakistan, and the UK. But it's not all sunshines and smiles in the Philippines. The Philippines is one of the most dangerous countries in the world when it comes to natural disasters. These include floods, earthquakes, typhoons, volcanic eruptions, and landslides. Over 18 to 20 tropical storms, and 8 to 9 of these making landfall, over 900 earthquakes yearly, and more than 20 active volcanoes. You name it, we got it. Although the Philippines seem well aware of the multiple after effects of natural disasters in the country, the poor response of the government on these tragedies outweigh the good in having just multiple pamphlets about danger preparedness. Typhoon Haiyan is a perfect example to overlook the weak strategy of the government on controlling situations when it comes to natural disasters. But before we get into it, here are some facts about Typhoon Haiyan. Typhoon Haiyan, one of the strongest and most powerful storm on record, made landfall in eastern Samargiwan with its maximum strength of 10-minute sustained winds of 145 miles per hour. According to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, over 16 million Filipino citizens were affected by Typhoon Haiyan. 4.1 million people were displaced, and over 1.1 million houses were severely damaged and destroyed by the typhoon. Tacloban City, one of the most damaged cities and the city where I grew up in, experienced flooding, power outage, no cellular services, lack of food, strong winds, and rain in a matter of a few hours. But it didn't stop there. Once the typhoon started to die down, corpses were found from left to right, people screaming for help, the local jail prisoners started escaping, and this increased the violence around the damaged areas. Raping of women began, and others began looting the nearby stores until everyone started to target the malls and department stores and restaurants scavenging for food to feed their families. In order to break all of this down, we will dissect this problem into three parts. Although the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, otherwise known as PAGASA, clearly warned the public about the incoming danger, the administration failed to emphasize the information of what storm surge meant. According to PAGASA's Assistant Weather Services Chief, Maria Cecilia Monteverde, there was so much more that could have been done when it came to explaining to the Filipino public what the magnitude and the gravity of a storm surge was. PAGASA defines a storm surge as having the capability to consume small communities bordering the water and bring devastation to man-made structures and as well as natural structures. The Presidential Communications Operations Office's, or PCOO, Secretary Sonny Coloma suggested that the Philippine government had adequately prepared for Haiyan, but maybe the communication between the local authorities and the public could have been clearer. Tacloban City's Mayor Alfred Romualdez, who fought for his life during the typhoon, agreed that if the typhoon was rephrased as a tsunami, the death count wouldn't be as many as it was. Considering that he needed to hide in his own family resort exactly right by the ocean, Romualdez himself definitely did not expect the strength of the storm, which also explains how the people of Tacloban was caught off guard. Although the government delivered a national call about the impending crisis on television, it was evident that there was a great miscommunication between the local government, national government, and PAGASA. As a solution, PAGASA decided to change the public storm warning system. The weather agency officially accepted the STY category, also known as the Super Typhoon category, where the maximum sustained winds are about 220 km per hour or 136 miles per hour. They have modified the warning systems and included the lead time, wind strength, and the impacts of the wind, and they had made sure to put emphasis on the new STY category. Another version of the warning system consisted of the wind strength, sea condition, the possible damages to structure, as well as the vegetation. Even though the President of the Philippines, President Benigno Aquino III, admitted that the government was fully prepared for the typhoon, the response of the government on how to face the catastrophe hasn't been precise. It took about 5 days after the storm when the Malacanang Palace assembled relief centers in the damaged areas. Even after those 5 days, the palace was unable to give out specific details on the timelines as to when other damaged areas would be helped. Another issue was the Philippines' struggle to report for the millions of dollars donated by foreign countries for the victims of Typhoon Haiyan. Working on figuring out where all the money had gone, the government has reportedly been working on organizing an enhanced tracking system. The Foreign Aid Transparency Hub site displayed the donations given for the victims to over 3 government agencies, but there were holes in the statistics. For a more updated version, the country will be requiring the foreign countries' governments to submit detailed information on where their donations have gone to. The local government says that this way it'll help them report the rest of the donated funds. Presidential spokesman Edwin Lacerda states that agencies are still assembling data of where the money was spent. According to Cleo Kalimbahin, the executive director of Transparency International Philippines approves of the said website, but also adds in that it is not very informative. Even with extra information in the updated version, there is still a huge gap between the cash and the donated funds accepted. The local government have been constantly accused of hiding funds for the victims, but that hasn't been proven yet, considering that some of the local officials were victims of the typhoon as well. The only solution in mind is that the public should be able to see the reports on where the government's plans for victims, aid, and infrastructure recovery, rather than having a website that tracks the aid giving, mainly because websites could easily be changed and hacked into. A perfect example to this is Oxfam International, an agency which collected over $55 million towards aiding victims. This serves as an example for effectiveness in lending a helping hand to survivors who need it the most. Oxfam was reported to be working very closely with local correspondents on the damaged areas. An Oxfam spokesperson stated that all donated funds that they have collected go straight towards Typhoon Haiyan aid and recovery. Using a management system, the money is monitored and it shows the step-by-step process of multiple projects. Although the Philippine government have prioritized the development of infrastructure in the country, the weak structure of airports, public works, and especially roads will consistently create a problem not only for the citizens but for the future as well. It has been reported on the first 8 to 9 months of 2010 that the local government have increased the spending for a better infrastructure to 47%. The country has also been investing excessively on construction to upgrade flood prevention. Unfortunately, natural disasters and weak infrastructure don't mix well, especially for a country who's rich when it comes to these disasters. Instead of spending most of the money on poor materials, maybe the government should start thinking about the long-term effects of a better framework for roads and public works and airports. These may also help lessen the financial or economical damage when natural disasters decide to pop by and say hi. Another great solution is to incorporate materials that could prevent or resist more damage in times of danger. A recent invention found in the United Kingdom called Top Mix Permeable is a new kind of concrete that can absorb over 4,000 liters of water in a matter of 60 seconds and an average of 600 liters per minute. Absorbing concrete has been around the world for over 50 years, but it's mostly used under the road to help drainage a little bit. Recently, tarmac researchers tried to figure out a way to make the top layer part have the capability to absorb as well as withstand the heavy traffic's weight. Not only can this new technology help on flood prevention, it can also be installed or uninstalled by the cities that may cause some changes to the temperature of the concrete. The only downside with this technology is that if the water that it absorbs end up freezing, the entire scheme will fall apart. This means that this new technology will only be used in areas where the temperature does not go low all the way. Then this entire project will definitely cost a lot of money, but if it can save thousands of lives, a few bucks wouldn't even matter in the future anymore. The Philippines is only one of the many countries that aren't an exception to Mother Nature's wrath. At some point, something even greater will happen to this world, and it'll all be our fault. We should do it now before we regret it later.